Hey, how's it going? Kingmaker here. Today I wanted to show you how to use the furnace in Space Engineers, but also more importantly, how to make steel out of this furnace. Steel is really one of the main building components outside of iron and copper, and beyond the basic equipment that you're given when you first start out, you're going to have to really start making steel to build a better base, build better components, and craft more items to really get yourself off the ground. So the furnace here, it's built with the auto lathe for, modest amount of iron and copper, so not too expensive. What's interesting about it is you actually don't have to require electricity. There's no hookups for it. It's all self-regulated based upon the gases that you add into it, and as well as whatever you're smelting. One of the interesting things is the input is on top and the output is on the bottom, so you actually have to leave yourself a little bit of a gap. This is for more of in the future when you automate your crafting process. You can have a hopper up on top and then delivering this onto one of the chutes to then have the chute deliver the byproduct of the smelting to one of your crafting machines. Also with the furnace is you have an input and output pipe. Really, these are the gases that are going to be added to the furnace to fire it up. What I have here is, since I'm going to be manually adding in the gases in a solid form, is I built some piping to these valves which I can turn on and off. This top one, saw a little bit of it. This top one is the output of the furnace, and I can help regulate the pressure inside of it to make sure that not too much builds up and I don't have an explosion. First time I actually tried using the furnace, I put way too much of the volatile ice into it, and I ended up blowing the thing up, which sent me flying across the map. Obviously, I got torn up pretty bad, and I did not survive the impact. So watch yourself with this one. You can actually quite easily kill your character, which ends up having you load back from your old save. So that sucks. Right here's two passive vents. You don't necessarily need to have these, but if you want to craft them, you have to buy yourself a hydraulic pipe bender. It's not too expensive. Again, I think it's about the same price and resources as the furnace, but this allows you to create the passive vents as well as active vents, and these filters that you'll be needing later on once you get a pretty nice pressurized base built. Okay, so before I start smelting, I needed to wait until it became night out, after the sun went down over the horizon. The reason for that is because I'm going to be manually adding this gas that's in solid form into the furnace. And right now, if you have this ice in your hand while the sun is out, it'll actually melt. So you don't have time to put it from your hand into the furnace, and that'd be a problem. So I'm going to be adding 1 volatile to 2 oxide. You really don't need that much more to fire up the furnace. So the more you add, the hotter it's going to get and the more pressure that's going to build up. For steel, you really don't need that much pressure, and you really don't need that much heat either. You just need to get 600 degrees Kelvin. I'm going to be aiming for about 1,000, just because the furnace cools off after you had fired it up, and the only way to keep those temperatures up is to add more and more. I just want to do it one time and get it over with. So I have these volatiles in my hand. I'm going to press R to bring up this context menu and select F to split one off of it. I can then switch my hands and then just add in 1. You'll see it gobbles it down. Go back to my mining pack, switch it out for the oxide, and do the same thing, but this time I'm going to add in 2. Alright, so now that I have those added in, I can actually fire up the furnace. And you'll see it start to glow, and you'll see the pressure building up. Yep, that's perfect. Okay, so for steel, we need a 3-to-1 ratio of iron to charcoal. You can add in any amount that you want, so long as the ratio is 3-to-1. So I'm doing 5 charcoal, 15 steel, and immediately that's cooking. If you hover over this little furnace window, it'll tell you how much you have in it and then how much steel is going to get produced. So if I click the lever to open it up, out pops the steel. That's perfect. Now, say if the temperature is off, the pressure is off, what will happen is instead of steel coming out, you'll get resin. And that actually can be repurposed by putting it just back in the furnace, bringing the temperatures back up, and then pulling this lever again. Out will pop steel. You don't lose any material. Say in that round, if I was expecting 20 steel, just like what I got there, but my temperature was too low, out would pop 20 resin. So you're not losing anything. It's no big deal. You just have to fire up the furnace again and get those temperatures and pressures up. Now, once I'm done with this is kind of the fun part. I want to relieve this thing of pressure. Not really because I have to, but just because I want to be on the safe side. So I open up the valve and out it all goes. In the future, once you have a developed base, you're going to be capturing this output so you can repurpose it for atmospherics, sending it back into the furnace, whatever you want to do with it. But really, that is all you need to know to get basic steel smelting down. From this, hopefully you can develop something more advanced. Automated is always more fun, so let your creativity run wild. Alright guys, see ya.